Welcome to War Bios, the podcast where we delve into the most pivotal battles in history, examining the strategic context, operational art, and human element that shaped the outcome of conflict. I'm your host, General Biography, and today we're going to explore one of the most decisive naval battles of the ancient world, the Battle of Actium. In the sweltering summer of 31 BCE, the fate of the Roman Empire hung in the balance as two rival fleets clashed off the coast of Greece. The Battle of Actium was a culmination of years of power struggles, alliances, and betrayals that would ultimately decide the course of Western civilization. But to understand the significance of this battle, we must first examine its origins. The seeds of the Battle of Actium were sown in the aftermath of Julius Caesar's assassination on the Ides of March, 44 BCE. As the Roman Empire teetered on the brink of chaos, three men emerged as key players: Mark Antony, Octavian, and Marcus Lepidus. The second triumvirate, formed by these powerful individuals, would ultimately lead to a series of conflicts that set the stage for Actium. Mark Antony, one of Caesar's most trusted generals, had established himself in Egypt, where he formed a romantic relationship with Cleopatra VII, the enigmatic queen of the Nile. This alliance not only strengthened their mutual interests, but also created a sense of legitimacy for their claims to power. Meanwhile, Octavian, Caesar's adopted son and heir, began to consolidate his own power base in Rome. As tensions between Antony and Octavian continued to rise, the Roman Senate grew increasingly divided. The Philippian War, fought from 42 to 36 BCE, saw Antony and Octavian clash with Brutus and Cassius, two of Caesar's assassins. Although they emerged victorious, the seeds of discord had been sown, and it would only be a matter of time before the fragile alliance between Antony and Octavian would fracture. One notable example of this escalating tension was the dispute over the province of Cyprus, which Octavian claimed as part of his territory, while Antony insisted it belonged to Cleopatra's Egyptian kingdom. This seemingly minor disagreement would ultimately contribute to the outbreak of war. As we explore the origins of the Battle of Actium, it becomes clear that this conflict was not simply a matter of personal ambition or petty squabbles between rival leaders. Rather, it represented a fundamental struggle for the future of Rome, with far-reaching implications for the empire's politics, culture, and geography. The complex web of alliances, rivalries, and ambitions set the stage for one of history's most epic conflicts. The attention of the ancient world turned to the Gulf of Actium, a narrow inlet on the western coast of Greece, where the fate of empires would soon be decided. This strategic location provided a natural harbor for the massive fleets that were gathering, as well as access to the open sea, where the decisive battle would ultimately take place. The die has been cast, and the players are in position. As the summer of 31 BCE wore on, the two rival fleets faced off in the Gulf of Actium, a narrow inlet on the western coast of Greece. The fleet of Mark Antony and Cleopatra VII, comprising some 500 ships, was a formidable force, with towering quinquiremes and sturdy triremes at its core. Meanwhile, Octavian's fleet, led by the seasoned admiral Marcus Vipsanius Agrippa, boasted around 250 ships, but made up for its numerical inferiority with superior training, tactics, and seamanship. The battle began on September 2, 31 BCE, as Antony's fleet, weighed down by its cumbersome ships and inexperienced crews, struggled to maneuver in the confined waters of the Gulf. Agrippa's fleet, on the other hand, was able to exploit the open sea, using its speed and agility to outflank and encircle the enemy. As the day wore on, Antony's ships became increasingly entangled, their oars and rigging snarled in a chaotic mess. One notable example of the tactical genius of Agrippa was his use of the breakthrough tactic, where he would send a small group of fast ships to break through the enemy line, creating chaos and disruption behind. This innovative approach allowed Agrippa's fleet to exploit the weaknesses of Antony's formation, ultimately leading to a decisive victory. As the battle raged on, Cleopatra VII herself took to the seas, commanding a squadron of swift and deadly Egyptian ships. According to legend, she personally directed the defense of her fleet, rallying her troops and inspiring them to fight on against overwhelming odds. Though her bravery was admirable, it ultimately proved futile as Agrippa's fleet gained the upper hand. The words of the Roman historian Cassius Dio capture the essence of this moment. The sea was filled with the wreckage of ships, and the bodies of the dead floated on the waves, while the survivors struggled to stay afloat, clinging to the debris or swimming towards the shore. The carnage was immense, with estimates suggesting that over 2,000 ships were sunk or captured, and tens of thousands of sailors and soldiers lost their lives. As the sun began to set on September 2, 31 BCE, the fate of the Roman Empire was all but sealed. Mark Antony's fleet lay in ruins, his hopes of victory shattered by the superior tactics and training of Octavian's forces. The Battle of Actium marked a turning point in history as the Roman Empire began its transition from a republic to an autocratic regime under the rule of Octavian, soon to be known as Augustus Caesar. The immediate aftermath of the battle saw Mark Antony and Cleopatra VII flee to Egypt, where they would eventually meet their demise. The Battle of Actium marked the end of the Roman Republic, as Octavian, soon to be known as Augustus Caesar, solidified his power and established the Principate, Rome's imperial system of government. This transition had far-reaching consequences as the Roman Empire began its expansion under a single, autocratic ruler. One of the most significant legacies of the Battle of Actium was the establishment of the Pax Romana, or Roman peace, which lasted for over 2 centuries. During this period, the Roman Empire experienced unprecedented stability and prosperity, with trade, culture, and infrastructure flourishing across the Mediterranean. The Pax Romana also saw the spread of Roman law, architecture, and engineering, leaving a lasting impact on Western society. The Battle of Actium also had significant cultural implications. The end of the Roman Republic marked the beginning of a new era in Roman literature and art, as writers like Virgil and Ovid and architects like Apollodorus of Damascus flourished under the patronage of Augustus Caesar. The Roman Empire's expansion also led to the spread of Greek culture, as Greek scholars, philosophers, and artists were absorbed into the Roman world. In addition, the Battle of Actium had a profound impact on the development of naval warfare. The tactics employed by Agrippa during the battle, such as the use of smaller, more agile ships and the breakthrough tactic, became standard practice in Roman naval warfare. The Roman Empire's dominance of the Mediterranean also led to significant advances in shipbuilding and navigation, with the development of new technologies like the lateen sail. As we look back on the Battle of Actium, it is clear that this conflict marked a turning point in history, shaping the course of Western civilization for centuries to come. The rise of the Roman Empire under Augustus Caesar had far-reaching consequences, from the spread of Roman law and culture to the development of new technologies and artistic innovations. In conclusion, the Battle of Actium was a pivotal moment in Roman history, marking the end of the Republic and the beginning of the Empire. Its legacy can still be felt today, from the architecture of modern cities to the languages we speak. As we reflect on this epic conflict, we are reminded of the power of human ingenuity, strategic thinking, and leadership, which continue to shape our world in profound ways. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of history's most epic conflicts. That's all for today's War Bios. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, I'm General Biography reminding you to keep marching toward victory.